Hello students, let us start from page number 15 here. That in the previous video we discussed how George Pearson was given a lesson by Mrs. Pearson because Mrs. Pearson, she was impersonating Mrs. Fitzgerald. So it is the time for reformation. What was there at 6 and 7 in that Pearson family, certainly it was a matter of concern for everyone, because we see that Cyril and Doris, the two brothers and sister, both of them they have their own way. They do not at all concern about the family or about their mother. At the same time, Mr. George, who spends almost all his time in the club, doing nothing, simply gossiping, and he has no time for his wife, just to take care of her. So up to this portion we discussed. Now let us see what is there from page number 15, and I think that you should go through this play line by line so that you can understand well. And Mrs. Pearson, she severely says, possibly you do, but what I doubt is whether your opinion is worth having. What do you know? Nothing. You spend too much time and good money at greyhound races and dirt tracks and ice shows. Means Mrs. Pearson, she is blaming her son for wasting his time. So how does he waste his time? He wastes his time by time at a greyhound races. Means greyhound, a kind of dog, hunting dog, but it is used as racing dogs. And dirt tracks means the motor sport conducted, or motor sports, that is what to say, played on the dirt tracks, means dirty tracks or muddy tracks. And ice shows, it is a game of skating. So he does nothing, simply he wastes his time like this. Hearing this, Cyril also gets angry, and Mrs. Pearson says, I wouldn't mind so much if you were really enjoying yourself, but are you? And where is it getting you? Means he is doing nothing, he has no future, simply he is spending time like this. So Cyril hurries out left, and there was a knocking at the door. And while he returns, then Cyril says, it's a dead silly old bag from next door. Old bag means an ugly woman, means here is Mrs. Fitzgerald. So do you want her here? Do you? Pearson replies, certainly, I do. Call him in. So Cyril exits left, and Pearson finishes her stout, smacking her lips. Cyril re-enters left, ushering in Mrs. Fitzgerald, who hesitates in the doorway. Means here you can find that both of them have exchanged their personalities, their behavior, and here clearly we can find that Mrs. Pearson, she is bold and courageous. She doesn't have any kind of hesitation, whereas Mrs. Fitzgerald, she has the characteristic of Mrs. Pearson. She is timid, she is fear, that means she is nervous, and that means hesitatingly she is waiting at the doorway. Come in, Mrs. Fitzgerald. Mrs. Fitzgerald, I just wondered if everything is all right. Then Cyril replies, no, it isn't. Means nothing is going all right here. Everything is in a confused manner. So Pearson replies, yes, of course it is. You be quiet. Means Mrs. Pearson, she wants to dominate everyone without any kind of hesitation, without any kind of love and compassion. Even we have seen that even she guides Mrs. Fitzgerald at this moment, because whatever Mrs. Fitzgerald wants to say, she just guides her. And Mrs. Pearsall, because I tell you, you silly spoiled young peascan. So Cyril, even though she tries to contradict with his mother, but Mrs. Pearson not at all entertaining her. And now, Mrs. Fitzgerald, just let me manage my family in my own way, please. Now, you can see here that in this line, Mrs. Pearson, who is impersonating Fitzgerald, tells her that Mrs. Fitzgerald, just let me manage my family, means no need to help, no need to have any help from anyone else. She can manage her family very well. And Cyril angrily, Mr. Pearson, to you, please, Mrs. Fitzgerald. And Mrs. Fitzgerald, she sits down, and Mrs. Pearson, nothing much, just putting them in their places. That's all. Doing what you ought to have done long since. Means doing what you ought to have done long since. Means you, means who is you here? She is indicating Mrs. Fitzgerald, who is playing the role of Mrs. Pearson. And you will find that both Mrs. Fitzgerald and Mrs. Pearson, they get confused very often thinking about their personalities, because sometimes Mrs. Fitzgerald, she behaves in such a way as if she is Mrs. Pearson, and she forgets that she is really Mrs. Fitzgerald. And here, is George home? She calls Mr. Pearson, George, by his name. So why does it so? Actually, fact is that still Mrs. Fitzgerald, she thinks that she is Mrs. Pearson, therefore she has the right to call him George. So yes, I have been telling him what they think of him at the club. Means Mrs. Pearson gave him a lesson very well, that he spends time in the club doing nothing. He has become a laughing stock. Everyone laughs at him, and he spends his time without anything. So Mrs. Pearson says that she is doing all right. That means she is trying to remove all sorts of demerits from her family, and therefore Mrs. Fitzgerald says, I don't think I want them eating out of my own hand. Means Mrs. Pearson was telling that I have made them such like that even they are ready to eat out of your hand soon. And Mrs. Pearson, I don't think that I want them eating out of my, means here Mrs. Pearson, she has given them such a lesson that she is ready to, that means they are ready to do whatever she commands. Now Mrs. Pearson again says, well, whatever you want, they will be doing it. All three of them, mark my word, Mrs. Pearson. Here Mrs. Pearson, this Mrs. Pearson. Mrs. Pearson, she is addressing to Mrs. Fitzgerald, and she gets confused that she herself is Pearson. Then George enters glumly, and Mrs. Fitzgerald calls him by his name, and hearing this, Mrs. Pearson, she gets very angry. Very angry in the sense, George is the name of the husband of Mrs. Pearson, therefore Mrs. Fitzgerald, she has no right to call him by name. Therefore Mrs. Pearson, that George gets angry. Staring at her annoyed, you ought to have known. Why ought to have known? Nothing to do with you. Mrs. Fitzgerald, look, where is the sixes and sevens here just now? So perhaps you will excuse us. Means George is confused and George is very much disturbed with his family. Therefore, he does not want anyone else to interfere with their family. That is why Mrs. Fitzgerald here, she is a kind of unwanted guest. So here Mrs. Pearson gets angry with George. I won't excuse you, George Pearson. Next time a friend and neighbor comes to see me, just say something when you see her. Means she is trying to teach him another lesson. Another lesson in the sense, if any guest drops in, then certainly he should wish him or her. Now Mrs. Fitzgerald is here, therefore George has the right, George has the obligation, he has the moral duty to wish her. Then Mrs. Fitzgerald says, no, it's all right. No, it's not all right. We'll have some decent manners in the house, or I'll know the reason why. Well, so George also gets confused because he had never experienced such a behavior from Mrs. Pearson. Why don't you get off your club? Special night tonight, isn't it? They will be waiting for you, wanting to have a good laugh. Go on then. Don't disappoint them. So she is instigating George to go to the club because they will be waiting for him, because they have to make fun of him, they have to laugh at him. Therefore, George, he has no work at home. He should go to the club, he should spend the time over there, he should be a matter of laughing for everyone. Therefore, George has no time, George should be there in the club. Then George replied, that's right. Make me look silly in front of her now. Means she feels insulted now. He feels insulted because George is insulted in front of Mrs. Fitzgerald. That is his complaint. Poor Doris has been crying her eyes out, and she has also offended Cyril. She has also offended Doris. They are in a very difficult condition. Mrs. Pearson then says, if you shout at me again like that, George Pearson, I slap your big fat silly face. Now you can understand up to what extent she has gone. Even she is ready to slap at a big fat silly face of George. And at this condition, Mrs. Fitzgerald, she is in a perplexed condition, what to say, and she is trying to just cool down Mrs. Pearson. Then Mrs. Pearson sits. Either I am of my chump or you two are. How dare mean? No, please. Mrs. Fitzgerald, look, you are Mrs. Fitzgerald. So what are you telling yourself to stop when you are not doing anything? Tell us, stop. Tell us to stop. Then there would be some sense in it. I thank you, must be Tiddly. So here, while Mrs. Fitzgerald, she tries to interfere with that situation, George says that she has no role in that at all. Therefore, she should keep quiet. So in the meantime, Doris enters, and Mrs. Fitzgerald, she wishes her, hello Doris dear. Doris is in a very miserably, hello Mrs. Fitzgerald. Mrs. Fitzgerald, I thought you were going out with your Charlie Spence tonight. Doris, that is, what's that to do with you? Means here, she does not like the idea that she should interfere with her affair. Means whether she goes with Charlie Spence or some with someone else, that doesn't matter. Therefore, Mrs. Fitzgerald, she has no any connection with that fact. Mrs. Fitzgerald, no, it's all right. It's not all right. I won't have a daughter of mine talking to anybody like that. Now, Mrs. Pearson says that she should not have a daughter like Doris, who does not know how to behave with the others. No, answer Mrs. Fitzgerald properly, Doris, or go upstairs again. And she sends her to upstairs. And in this condition situation, Mrs. Pearson, she is very bold, and she does not care anybody else. And even if George tries to interfere, he gets a very good scolding. So Doris, she says, because if you must know, my mother's been going on a mimicking me, feel miserable, and saying he's got a buck teeth and is half-witted, means she refers to Charlie Spence, who was insulted by saying that buck teeth and half-witted. And this is not at all good for anyone else, because Doris, she, that means Spence, Charlie Spence is her boyfriend. Therefore, if anyone tells something else about him, then certainly it cannot be tolerated. So here Mrs. Fitzgerald says, yes, yes, Mrs. Pearson, you should not have said like that. Pearson interrupts. Mrs. Fitzgerald, I'll manage my family, you manage yours. Now you can see how she talks. She even scolds Fitzgerald. That means you should manage your own family, and I am managing my own. Therefore, she has no right to interfere with that. George grimly ticking her off now. Are you Annie? Mrs. Pearson. They're waiting for you at the club, George. And straightforwardly she says, you have no task here. You can go to the club, they're waiting for you. Now Mrs. Fitzgerald, she requests George and Doris to go away from that room because there was some private talk with Mrs. Pearson. Therefore, they should be quite alone here, and when it will be over, they can enter again. So here, George, I am glad somebody can, because I can't come on, Doris. George and Doris exit left. As they go, Mrs. Fitzgerald moves to left of the small table and sits. She eagerly beckons Mrs. Pearson to the same thing. Means again they will exchange their personalities. Again they will spell some magic words that they earlier did so, and now they are going to change it. And at this time, Mrs. Fitzgerald says, Mrs. Fitzgerald, we must change back now. We really must. So Mrs. Fitzgerald addresses Mrs. Fitzgerald means here Mrs. Pearson, who is impersonating Mrs. Fitzgerald. Mrs. Pearson, why? Because this has gone far enough. I can see they're all miserable, and I can't bear it. Means here you can find the tune of Mrs. Pearson, because Mrs. Fitzgerald, she is unable to bear that miserable condition of that Mr. George, Cyril, and Doris. Therefore, she wants to make the things right. And then Mrs. Pearson, a bit more of the same would do good. Make a great difference already. Means Mrs. Pearson, she thinks that she should have some more time for them to make them all right. But Mrs. Fitzgerald says, no, I can't stand any more of it. I really can't. We must change back. Hurry up. Please, Mrs. Fitzgerald. So now they are going to again utter that type of spell, magic spell, so that they can change their personalities. Again, Mrs. Fitzgerald will become Mrs. Fitzgerald, and Mrs. Pearson will become Mrs. Pearson. And after that, everything will go all right. So after doing so, Mrs. Fitzgerald advises her that Mrs. Pearson, don't go so soft them again, else it will all have been wasted. Because what you have done, it should be maintained properly. Don't be so soft to them, because once you become soft with them, again they will have the same opportunity to misbehave with you, to exploit you, or whatever they like, they do like they did earlier. So I'll try not to, Mrs. Fitzgerald. They have had as long as I would like to have given them. Another hour or two rough treatment might have made it certain. I'm sure they will do better now. Though I don't know how I'm going to explain. So don't you start any explaining or apologizing, or you will done for. Because Mrs. Fitzgerald again suggests her that you should not explain what is the matter. Simply just you keep the same tempo that you have now, so that they should not understand that you change yourself as Mrs. Fitzgerald. Otherwise, they will understand your weakness. Now, Mrs. Pearson, it's all right for you. Mrs. Fitzgerald, after all, aren't your husband and children. Now, Mrs. Fitzgerald says, now you listen to me. You admitted yourself you were spoiling them, and that they didn't appreciate you. Any apologies, any explanation, and you will be straight back where you were. I am warning you, dear, just give them a look, a tone of voice now and again to suggest you might be tough with them if you wanted to be, and it ought to work. Anyhow, we can test it. So the previous condition should not prevail again. Mrs. Fitzgerald is warning her again and again that you should not explain, or you should not ask for apology. The condition as it is now, you keep it in the track, so that that means they have already come to the track, they should be in the track. You should not give them the chance to again to go back to their previous situation. Then George, Doris, and Cyril file in through the doorway, looking apprehensive at Mrs. Pearson. I'm just off to let you enjoy yourself. Now Mrs. Fitzgerald is going out, and the family will reunite again. They will enjoy their life. There will be no chaos at all as it was earlier. The family looks anxiously at Mrs. Pearson, who smiles. Much relieved, they smile back at her. Means they are anxiously looking at Mrs. Pearson. While Mrs. Pearson smiles at them, they got some relief. That means they felt that something is going to the right track. Yes, mother, Mrs. Pearson, seeing that you don't want to go out, I tell you what I thought you'd do, Mrs. Fitzgerald. Remember, while she again tries to become soft with Doris, Mrs. Fitzgerald again she warns her. Remember, you should not forget that what you are doing. So, just Mrs. Pearson, she is trying to bring the situation normal. I thought we would have a nice family game of Rummy, and then you children could get a supper ready while I have a talk with your father. Means it is now all right. Children, they can enjoy, and they can enjoy a good supper, and in the meantime she would have a talk with George. So in this way we see that we need a certain situation where we can rectify ourselves, we can correct ourselves. If something goes wrong, then we should wait for the certain condition, certain time that we can correct it. So this is the lesson, and we should not forget that every family member in our family, they should have their own rights, they should have their own position, so that everyone can live happily, comfortably. Thank you. Have a nice day. In the next part, we will discuss question and answer. Thank you.